Miller Time Podcast. People of color redefining success.
Wow, that sounded successful.
It did. I'm going to say it one more time. People of color redefining success.
What does it mean to redefine success?
It means that we're not going to go by previous standards that were set by other people, other generations, other ethnicities, other cultures, but we are going to ask ourselves and be really authentic with who we are and say, do I really need that 7-bedroom house? Do I really need that fat pool? Do I really need a Bugatti? Do I really need to go out to eat every day?
No.
Do I really need a new outfit every Sunday?
Definitely not.
Okay. Well, then maybe I can change my standards and say success looks a little bit different for me than it looks for you. Or success looks completely different than what it looks like for you. And I can reset and recreate a standard for myself. And I don't have to be influenced by society or by social media telling me I need to have a nice car and a big booty.
Wow.
Because the social media keeps telling me that. It's like, yo, you need a big booty. And I'm like, listen, I don't.
It's okay. Flat booties are perfect.
Yes. And they'll probably be in soon.
Yeah, I bet big booties are going out probably next year.
I'm telling you, just wait. You'll see them all on TV. They'll be everywhere. And next thing you know, somebody's going to say, is that a flat booty? I want that.
It's so sexy.
Wow. Look how flat it is. You just...
it's like flatter than the wall.
It's like she can lean against the wall and there's no problem. She's just flat.
Wow.
Against that wall.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah. It's going to change the way people even feel about themselves. They're gonna be like, I got to get rid of this booty.
Dang.
They're like, I'm about to go work my booty
Bye,
off.
Kim Kardashian.
Right. It's going to be inverted Kim Kardashian. Inverted booties.
Wow.
Wait till that happens. Welcome to today's episode of Miller Time Podcast. People of color redefining success. We are going to be talking along our, what is it again?
BSPF,
our philosophy for success. We're going through this. We've been going through BSPF, brace, spark, purpose, flow, what we believe that every person in life needs to be successful. And we've been going through it. We've talked about brace, and we talked about how we found and how we use brace and how we found success using brace in our relationship romantically.
Yes.
In the Bible, they would say how we knew each other.
Yada.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, ooh, girl, you know that Hebrew?
Of course.
Oh, it's the language of love.
Uh-huh.
Maybe. But then we worked our way down to spark, and we talked
how to overcome anxiety.
And Courtney went through and talked a lot about the things that she had been learning in school, and a lot of research and ideas around spark and CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and how we can actually transform beliefs and make them into empowering beliefs.
Yes.
And today, what are we talking about?
We are getting into purpose.
We're talking about purpose.
Yeah, the big P.
The big P.
Yeah. And today I'm actually going to be interviewing the big P sitting in front of me. It rhymed. Pat Daddy. Yeah, so I'm going to be interviewing Patrick about purpose and really how can you find out your purpose and start moving in your purpose. Because that is something that we, feel like we love to talk about, and we also love to make sure everything we do is in purpose. But sometimes it can be difficult to get there. Like, how do you even start off operating in purpose? How do you discover your purpose? How do you know when you're not living in purpose? So there's a lot of questions that I have for Patrick, and I hope you guys one, feel motivated by this conversation to even go a little deeper within yourself to find out, are you living in purpose and on purpose and with purpose and every other conjunction?
In purpose, on purpose.
To purpose.
Maybe that's what this episode would be called. In purpose, on purpose.
With purpose.
Or with purpose, on purpose. Like, you know, like I'm doing this on purpose.
Oh, right.
So like, there was a story I told my kids about, like, because I used to do this to my siblings all the time, where like we'd be play fighting and I would like hit them or something like that super hard, and they start crying. I'm like, I'm sorry. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm like literally trying to like shut them up before like any of my parents here, and I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, you did it on purpose. And so my kids thought that was so funny. But I was like, well, what was my brother trying to say? And they were like, oh, he was trying to say like, you did it intentional. You did it with like preconceived notion. And I was like, right. Today we're going to be talking about how are you going to do it on purpose, intentional with preconceived notion.
Dang.
Yeah. You like how I did that?
I actually do.
Yeah. I'm going to use that story. I forget that I did that. Sometimes I forget the things that I do. That's amazing.
Actually, I find that hard to believe because you have a pretty good memory.
Well, I forget what I do because I'm just so humble that...
Wow. Says no one ever that is actually humble. Well, let's dive in because we got a lot. This is such a dense topic, and knowing my husband, he got lots of stories for you guys.
Oh, I do.
So I'll try to keep him concise.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can try.
Yeah. So let us jump in and buckle our seatbelts. Okay. So, babe, let's just start off with the basics. What is purpose?
Yeah. Purpose. So purpose is a way. So there's a couple of things. Purpose can be a noun. Purpose can be a verb. And I think the noun is purpose is a lifestyle of living in a way that is intentional to impacting not only your life but also the world around you. And I think a verb, to actually do purpose or to move, to do purpose is to live intentionally. Again, it's like to live intentionally with everything that you do, every choice that you make, every decision you make, and how it will impact others and how it will impact yourself. But it's about a bigger, I would say it's like almost like having a bigger meaning in life. It's like your meaning in your life. It's the meaning you give yourself and the actions that you do and the things that you do that drive you in all of your decisions. And that action that you're doing and that meaning that's driving you is not just something that like it's driving me because it's going to make me feel good, but also it's the way that I interact with the world.
So you mentioned the word meaning. What is the difference between like I have a meaningful life or I have meaning, things that I do that give me meaning versus I am living in purpose, on purpose, with purpose? Like what's the difference between meaning and purpose?
That's a really good question. I think that when people are living with meaning or people are just living for, I would say like meaning, which is like the emotion a lot of time that comes with that is fulfillment. That when people are living with meaning, they just ask themselves, like, what am I doing and how does it make me feel good? Like, how is it that the work that I'm doing in my life makes me feel good about it? Like, maybe, I feel valuable or I feel wanted or I feel important or I feel strong or confident. That meaning is really about just me and how I feel. But when we talk about purpose, purpose isn't just about what is it that I do that has meaning, but also what is it that I do that impacts the world that will also make me feel like I have meaning. And so what purpose does is purpose moves it from just being about me, and purpose moves it to where this is actually about others as well. And it's about how I impact others and how I can change and impact the world.
You just gave me a revelation. If we think about the word meaning and the word purpose, meaning has me in it, and purpose has us. And like,
wow, that's
you
really good.
in it. And so, man, I'm so deep.
I wonder if that's like anywhere else like that, but that's really good.
We're about to take it and market it.
No, that's really good. I never thought about that. Like, because meaning is really about me.
Right.
What purpose is about us. And
right.
It's like, it's changing the perspective to like, I feel good because I'm just doing this. Like, I'm strong, I'm confident, I'm this, I'm that. But meaning is just only goes as far as me. But yeah, purpose is like, it's about us. It's about the community. It's about the team. It's about how we all are impacted and how we all can be successful. Yeah.
So, I mean, I want to hear your story a little bit when it comes to purpose. One, what is your purpose? Like, tell me what your purpose is.
I would say that my purpose is in line with our business, CoCo Palma Life, which is to help people close the gap between where they are, where they want to be, but also for people to create their extraordinary lives. Like, which we'll get into this a little bit further, but one of the things that I remember and usually what drives me, which actually comes from a person that I love, but I hate that I love, is Charles Price. Because Charles Price, if you ever listen to this Charles Price, you were going out of town and you were like, Patrick Miller, I'm coming to town, and when I see you in October, I want to meet up with you and I want to hang out with you because, man, you got a lot going on and I want to talk with you. And Charles came and Charles went. Did you guys ever meet? No, he never called me. He never told me he was here or nothing. Dang. Anyway, so, but one thing that he said, like, I remember one thing he told me, he was like, hey, Patrick, I want you to, he had me like delivering paper for his company, and he was doing some stuff like this, and he was really teaching me some things about like how to be business minded and also like how to operate through ministry. And one of the things he said, listen, Patrick, I'm going to the top, but I'm trying to take you with me. I'm trying to take everybody with me. So when I get to the top, I don't want to be there by myself. And I thought about that. I was like, man, you don't hear many people saying that. That it's not just me going up to the top, but I want everybody to be successful. And I think I really adopted that for myself as well. And that mentality is that I want to be successful so that everybody around me, everybody I grew up with, everybody that I love, everybody I care about can be successful as well. I want to see them thriving and living in a place of joy and happiness and fulfillment and purpose. And so that's everything I do is centered in that, like whether it be through sports, arts, acting, coaching, businesses, leadership development, all that stuff, learning and development. It's all centered in, I want to see people successful. That it makes me feel good when I know that I can better the world because everybody's going to be successful.
So, I mean, I've heard 3. Ooh.
Oh,
he sneezed.
Jeez. Yeah, that's good.
You feel better?
I feel good.
Okay. Back to the scheduled programming. So I hear kind of like a 3-part purpose. So 1, being able to close the gap between where people are, where they want to be. 2, being able to help people to create their extraordinary life, to empower them to live that extraordinary life. And then 3, to be able to find success for yourself, but not only where it stays with that, because that would maybe just give your life meaning. Yeah. But the way that it goes to purpose is that your desire for success is for everyone around you. And so if you can empower people, partner with them, help them to be able to find success, that gives you a sense of purpose.
Yeah, definitely. And I think even the extraordinary life and closing the gap between where people are and where they want to be, I don't think it's just enough to close the gap between where people are and where they want to be, because the truth is that people haven't been inspired enough to even know where they want to be. I think that if we just close the gap between where people are and where they wanted to be, it would just be achieving some really minuscule goals, like really just, like stuff that does not matter. So in order to really feel good about the work of closing the gap between where people are and where they want to be, I feel that it is important to get people to dreaming about an extraordinary life. What would it look like if your life was extraordinary? What would your life look like if it was the best and you had everything that you needed and your family had everything that they needed and you just lived in abundance? What would that look like? and now let's close that gap. Because then that's a place of inspiration, that's a place of fulfillment, that's a place of purpose, where it's a continual work that we move towards. Yeah.
You just used, I think, a booming word that we hear and everyone's looking for, which is the F word.
Oh, what's that?
Everybody's using the F word these days. I mean, I hear it on the street.
Did
I
I say
hear it in
the
the
F word?
club. I hear it in the church. I hear it in the grocery store. The F word of fulfillment. What does purpose have to do with fulfillment?
Yeah, I think fulfillment is the emotion that you feel when you actually live in purpose. And I think meaning is what you get when like it feels good. It's like, all right, meaning feels good, and meaning maybe can bring happiness in that moment.
Like a pat on the back.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, like, yeah, like, you know, what you do here is like, or like the work that you do is important because, you know, you're able to do this and that or whatever. But unless it's connected to other people and that it actually impacts people's lives, then it doesn't really bring fulfillment. And I think fulfillment comes when you align your, I would say fulfillment comes when you align your interests with your passion. And that in itself is purpose. That fulfillment is the emotion, is the reward, is the oxytocin release in your body that is like, you did a great job, and not only did you do a great job, but you also impacted other people's lives. I think meaning is just, I did a great job. When you're doing purpose, that's when you did a great job and it impacted others, and now your reward is fulfillment.
And when you said oxytocin, it kind of reminded me of the two hormones that usually have to do with like happiness. It's like dopamine and also oxytocin. So dopamine is like, oh yeah, I got that good hit. I like did something that made me feel good, and maybe, you know, I did a paint night or whatever.
Yeah.
But the oxytocin is the bonding hormone. That's the one that usually is like when mothers are breastfeeding, oxytocin is running like crazy because you're bonding between another individual.
Yeah,
and so,
right. And you don't, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, you don't get oxytocin by yourself. Like, it's not you can't bond with yourself.
I don't know. That I would actually be really interested in that research.
Yeah.
Like, is oxytocin only released in relationship and in interactions?
Right. Because I know that's like, it's the bonding chemical. It's what you feel when you do something good for someone else. Someone does something good for you, and because of that, the emotion is released. That'd be interesting to check in on that. It could be something we talk about.
Yeah, at some point.
Even as we go more into purpose.
Right.
But yeah.
I mean, and what you were saying about like finding fulfillment is often tied to like when our interests and our passions are aligned. I mean, this is kind of a sneak peek into our next segment on flow, but like our saying with flow is like where there's passion, power, and purpose, there's fulfillment, which is exactly what you're speaking to. Like our power, which we'll get into next episode, really getting into like our strengths, but like finding out what our passion is and finding out our purpose is what is going to bring us lasting fulfillment. So my question is, going back to you told us a little bit what your purpose is. How did you find your purpose?
Yeah, it was definitely a journey. I guess the question is, do you want to just hear my experience, or do you want to hear the like, I guess, science or psychology way of saying it?
Give me both. I love both.
Okay. I'll give you the story first, and then I'll say the psychological way behind it.
Okay. Well, first tell me yours, and then I might have a follow-up question. So give me time to like interrupt.
Okay. No, just interrupt. Just do your thing.
Okay.
So how I deal with mine, I would say I started first really believing that I wanted to be an actor. And I think that was because of just I was really good at acting, and I was just really good at just getting on stage and being confident and being brave, and not worrying about if I look dumb or if I look stupid or if people are going to laugh at me or if I'm going to mess up my lines. I was really good at that, and I was really good at just memorizing lines. I just had a skill for like reading a script for a little bit and then picking up the lines and just going with it. And so I spent a lot of time doing that, and because of that, I was like, I really want to go into acting. And there was this desire to be an adventure and like do wild things and crazy things. And so I was like, oh, if I do acting, I'll be able to do that. Maybe I'll be in like an action film or something like that, and I'll be able to do that. So for a long time, I wanted to do that. And I shared this story a couple times recently, was that I was working for this company. I don't even know if it's a company. I was working for this guy named Bill for Team Leaders in California, where he, it's so funny because I'm like, I don't even know. I'm like, I might get him in trouble talking about this. I don't even know if it's really a business. But anyway, he would have us selling these items on like corners and at gas stations and in front of banks and all these different things. We'd be selling these items, and I was selling this item to this guy, which I got him into conversation about, what I want to do in my future. And he was like, oh, okay, so what do you want to do? And I was like, oh, I really want to be an actor. I really want to I want to work with like Will Smith, and I want to blah, 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 blah. And he says, well, there's a lot of little black boys out there who want to be actors. So what else do you want to do?
And was this guy black?
No, he wasn't black. Well, he could have. I don't remember. He was either Habasha, like Ethiopian or Eritrean, or like East African, or he was Indian. It was a long time ago, and I don't think I was like culturally sensitive to like who these people were at that time. Okay. But I think he was Indian. If I remember, I'm pretty sure he was like in a gray Mercedes, and he was an Indian man. I have random memories about that. But anyway, so yeah, he was like, so what's your plan B? Like, what are you going to do if that doesn't work? And so he spent like a lot of that conversation trying to get me to think of something else I wanted to do that would be able to make money. And that was hard because it was like, it actually like hurt me for a minute. I was like, dang, maybe I'm not going to be an actor. Maybe it is too hard. Maybe I should be thinking about a plan B. And yeah, but then after that, I was like, that dude sucks. Like, who goes up to a little kid like and tells them that? Like, who just shoots down their dream? Like, I get it. I get his intention was to like help me be realistic and try to come up with a plan, but it sucked to hear that. And then I got a chance to go with an organization to Nicaragua called Global Glimpse, and I went with Abbas Hassan. This guy who literally started this organization that year and like went around all these schools around California, around the Bay Area, and like started picking up students. Went to each school asking, which student has like leadership potential. I want them to come. One of my teachers picked me out and was like, hey, you definitely need to go. When I went, and it was an amazing experience. Like I didn't want to go at first. I was always shying away from opportunities to be able to like be a leader. And she was like, no, she's like, I will call your grandma and you would definitely go. So she pushed me into going, which Carrie Haslinger at Castlemont right now, but she was like probably one of my like, she's like one of the top teachers. She pushed me into pursuing, to go into Nicaragua. And it changed my life. It just changed the way I saw myself. It changed the way I saw the world. And when I got back, I wanted to take all my friends. I was like, it sucked being out there without any of my friends that like from church and from growing up. Like I had my school friends, but there was like a lot of friends that I was close with. I was like, I just wish they could see this. I just wish they could be here. I wish they could experience this. Like this would be so cool. The whole time I just thought like, I really wish my friends could be here to experience this with me. So when I got back, I was like, yo, we got to go to Nicaragua. Like we got to go. And a friend of mine at the same time, Josh Hamilton, when I got back, maybe a year later, he went to Senegal and he stayed for 9 months. And when he came back, we connected and I was like, tell me about your trip. What happened? Was it like this? Blah, blah, blah. And we shared and connected in a way where we were like, yo, this was so impactful, just being able to travel out of the country and stay somewhere. And he stayed like 9 months, which I only stayed 3 weeks, which was a long time, but 9 months like is way beyond that. He was so impacted by it and his life was so changed. He was stealing bikes off of people's porches as a kid and like just doing crazy things. And then he gets to go to Senegal and now he's like teaching English he goes to Senegal and he's teaching English and he's learning Senegalese and he's like, it's crazy how his life was impacted by that. And we started talking. We were like, yo, we should start a business where we take people like from the hood, from people from Oakland, and we take our friends and we travel. I remember we called it like Mission X for a long time.
I was a part of that.
Yeah, we were like getting all our friends like, yo, we're going to Nicaragua, we're going around, we're going to travel the world. We're going to learn, we're going to stay with people, we're going to do all these things. And for a long time, I was probably like 17, 18 during this time, I think. But I remember, I was probably 18. But I remember we were like telling all our friends about this. I went to Charles and I was telling this about it. He was like, listen, you got something big. It's not just about you. And it was funny. He was like, dang it, I hate that I got so many life lessons from him.
Wow.
Anyway, so he's like, Patrick, because I told him, we went to him, we were like, hey, Charles, we want to go to Nicaragua. We want to do this trip. We want to do this thing. We want the church to pay for it. We really want to go on this thing. He was like, I was sharing it with him. He was like, listen, Patrick. And he did this thing where he like squeezed his face with his hand. He was like, Patrick Miller, listen to me. Let me tell you something. You're hitting on something big right now. Like literally he told me this. He's like, you're hitting on something big right now. And he was like, if this is just about you going on some trip and with your friends, whatever, I'll give you some money. You go on your trip, you do that. That's whatever. I don't care about that. But if this is bigger than you, if this is about impacting other people and how you're going to change other people's lives, if this is bigger than you, if this can live beyond you and become something bigger than you, I will give you thousands for this. Like I will put my son in this program because I want him to be a part of it. He was like, I want you to see the bigger picture, that you have a chance not just to send yourself on a trip, but you have a chance to impact people in a powerful way. I need you to think about this. So literally I was like, okay, crap. All right. We were just talking about going on a trip and like blah, 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 blah. And like literally from that point, we were like, yo, we got to do Mission X. We got to go travel. We got to do all these different things. So I had a couple times to do it. It never really panned out the way I wanted it to be. We even got a chance to take people to Dominican Republic. And that was like a part of what I really wanted to do. Mm-hmm. But as I grew and as I like worked with different people, I would say like my vision and like seeing my family struggle with poverty, seeing all these different things, I'm like, how do I put all these experiences together? My chance to go to Nicaragua, this guy who told me that there's too many young black people trying to be actors. What Charles was telling me, all these different things, like trying to get all these people to be successful. How do I really bring all this together into one area where I can just do what I love doing? And I think that's where this started. And it's been a journey, and I'm still not there, and I'm still not at a place where I'm like, I've achieved my purpose. I know what my purpose is. Because I think purpose is continual and it's developmental and it never stops. It's something that you go on. But I would say what has brought my purpose to this point, to everything that I do with like my jobs, the business, all those different things have led up to this point to where I am right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was, I don't even think I've ever heard that story in entirety.
Fully.
Yeah, that's I think it's those people in our lives that can often seem like we're having these random conversations, but there's things that really like leave an impact on us. And I think what Charles was speaking to was purpose, and he was saying like, if this is just about you, which is meaning, then it's just whatever. But if it's really bigger than you, then like this is huge, because he could see you were going to be walking in a purpose that impacted the whole world. You kind of answered my next question, which was like, has your purpose developed, or like has it stayed stagnant? You pretty much said like it's still developing. There's still areas that you haven't explored yet. And that I'm sure from even the day you wanted to start acting to where you are now. I know acting is still a passion of yours, and there's probably some way or form you can incorporate that more fully and intentionally into your purpose. But I want our listeners to learn a little bit about the science behind purpose. Like, how does one find purpose?
Right. Yeah. No, it's definitely a good question. So I'll say, and just to keep it in context of what the story I just told, there are 3 different ways that someone can find purpose. So one is proactive development.
And where is this research from?
That's a good question. This research is from Stanford University. Nice. Developmental of Purpose During Adolescence, William Damon, Jenny Menon.
No, I think that's the wrong one.
Oh, is that the wrong one?
It's actually, don't worry, we can edit all this out.
Or will we?
Oh, right here. It's from here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Refining and Understanding of Life Well Lived by Todd B. Kashdan, not to be confused with Kardashian, but also it came out of George Mason University. So, yes, thank you, George Mason University.
Thank you. Not Stanford.
For all the Stanford, you don't get the credit this time. It came out of George Mason University. So this is their research, and my studying side. Okay. But all right, so there's 3 ways. 1 is proactive development. 2 is reactive development. And the third one is social learning theory. First one, proactive development, is I seek it, meaning that I am spending time, I am focused, I am pushing myself, I am learning, I am open, I'm doing all these different things, I'm going on this journey, exploring, because I'm looking for my purpose. And then you can come upon your purpose. The second one, which is reactive development, is it seeks me, where an experience happens to me, and all of a sudden, because of that, it calls me to be reflective, it causes me to be open, it calls me to be explorative, and therefore I find what my purpose is. And the third one is the social learning theory, which is I see it, and therefore, like, I see other people living their lives and doing their things and achieving different goals and meaning and purpose. And because of that, it causes me to be reflective and open and say, oh, okay, I'm finding my purpose. So I would say, like, with the proactive development, that's really spending the time to be intentional. Well, I would say first, I would say that also with all of these 3, there's also a belief that there's also a hybrid of them.
Oh, right.
No one person, like, usually people probably won't have just one way of learning or finding their purpose. That it might be proactive and reactive. It might be reactive and social learning, or all 3 of them. Yeah. So I would say with me, it definitely was I would say it was a bit of all of them. It was like, it was seeking me out, where I had experiences where someone came to me and was like, yeah, you're never going to be an actor. He didn't say that, but like, that happened, and I had other experiences. But also, it was me on the journey to find what my purpose was, especially with like age of 18, 19, not being in school. I don't think I went to college then. Yeah, I think I didn't I don't think I applied for college until I was like 19 or something like that. So, yeah, I would say like 18, 19, not really sure what I was doing and trying to find my way and like trying to figure it out. That I was definitely proactive about like asking questions and being in different places and seeing how I can create opportunities for myself. But yeah, so yeah, those are 3 ways. And I would say proactive, there is like a whole list of things that you can do that I could talk about as well. But yeah, does that answer your question?
Yes. So someone goes about pretty much finding their purpose, either A, intentionally seeking it, so the proactive, B is reactive, like something transformative can happen to us, or an interaction with someone. Or C, you are observing people that are doing things maybe that you want to do, or maybe doing things you don't want to do, and it helps you to learn like where you see yourself being.
Right. So like proactive could be, since proactive is actually being intentional and being like explorative, proactive might be something like with our business CoCo Life. Like, for example, that is proactive development. CoCo Life is I guess it's almost like a proactive development company where we literally create spaces for people to be proactive about finding their purpose.
Very intentional about seeking out who they are, what's next, what they're passionate about.
So that's proactive. Reactive, an example of reactive would be like, I was just in a car crash, and now this car crash has been so jarring for me that now I want to create safety for people. Or maybe like, you know, my car was wrecked and it was so totaled, and now I have nothing to do, and I realize that like I can't even like purchase a car, and I still got to pay for all these damages and all these different things. Insurance is important. People need some type of insurance that they can be able to, now I really want to go into insurance company or something like that, right? Or my grandmother passed, and now that my grandmother's passed, I really need to be explorative about my purpose and my impact and my legacy, because I see the huge legacy she left in the world and the people she impacted, and now it's making me question myself, like, okay, what's my legacy? What am I going to do? What are people going to say at my funeral?
Right.
And then the social learning theory is like, I see people out there changing lives. I see people, you know, I see Will Smith on TV acting, and I'm like, I could do that. Like, that's nothing.
I love Will Smith.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Yeah, like I see someone out there, I see a singer, I see an artist who's like really doing these different things, and now because of that, or I see a sports player, I see a doctor, I see someone, and as I watch you live your purpose, it inspires me to want to be like you, or to find purpose like you found it. So now because of that, I'm exploring and going in that path as well.
Hey everybody, hope you enjoyed the first half of You Did It on Purpose episode. This episode, we talked about how you can start thinking about purpose and the different phases and stages of purpose development. We talked about being in the proactive phase, the reactive phase, and also being in the social learning phase, where in the proactive, we're all about being able to literally proactively go after experiences and people and spaces to help us figure out the things that that drive us and that are purpose-filled for us. Also, the reactive stage is about maybe there was an experience that happened to us that sparked what we feel like our purpose is, and so being able to pursue purpose based on something that I guess we are reacting to that has happened. And then last, the social learning theory, which is we're observing from other people, where we're like, hey, I like what they're doing. Like, I think I have a similar purpose. I want to move how they're moving. And so this whole conversation is just get you guys thinking about what is your purpose? Where are you? And so my question for you all is for you to also think about, where are you in these phases of development? Because you can be in multiple at the same time, and you can move through them at different points in time. But identify where you are specifically, and how would you articulate your purpose right now? We're going to go further into this in our next episode coming out next week, really getting into how you can identify and articulate purpose, how you can start asking yourself those harder and deeper questions to get to the root of where you feel like your purpose lies. But just to get the brains warmed up, if you could articulate what your purpose is in one sentence, what would that be right now? And obviously we know that can change and it can be hard to articulate at one time, but just think about it right now. So just a reminder, part 2 will be uploaded next Monday, so stay tuned. And we just want to thank everybody for all the love you've been giving us. If you have any questions that you want to send us, please feel free to send us an email at themillers at CoCoPlanMyLife.com. We've been getting some great questions from people, and we're going to be doing a question and answer episode at the end of this series. And maybe your question will be featured in that episode. So please shoot us an email, and we'd love to engage with you guys. And we would love if you shared this episode. Leave us a review. Let us know what you love about the Miller Time podcast. And we appreciate you guys. We love you guys. And remember, you have the power to create your extraordinary life. Okay, bye.